Hello and welcome. This is the Onside Kick, an NFL podcast brought to you by Fox Sports Australia. I'm your host, Chris Janssen, and with me, back again this week, Ted Smith. Good to have you back.
Hey, mate.
How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate.
That's good. Looking fresh.
Thank you.
And Hugo, pleasure to have you back as well.
Thanks. Good to see Ted here as well. So all good.
Yeah. Sicky last week, boys, you know.
Hey, that's all right.
I am half bogan, so that's always in play.
We are back with our video capabilities as well, which means much to everyone's pleasure. They will be able to see our three smiling, beautiful faces, which makes all the difference as we head into another big week, as usual. We will kick off with the biggest games from Week 12. Mostly we'll be talking through the Colts Bucks, the Packers Rams, and the 49ers Vikings. They were three of the standout games. We'll also bring you up to speed, as usual, on how our fantastic Australians fared. And then we'll also go into a few games coming up in Week 13 and what the pick of the bunch from those games is. Without further ado, we can jump straight into this week's games. And the first game I would like to touch on is the Indianapolis Colts, who were red hot coming into this. They were at home to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The story of the day was Leonard Fournette's taking everything that he wanted from that game. Lombardi Lenny making up for Brady, who only had 226 yards, a touchdown and a pick. The story of the day was the running back, though, gents. What do you have for me?
It's just incredible, this Bucs offense. Just there are so many ways they can destroy you. Like, Antonio Brown's injured. No worries. Leonard Fournette will get 4 touchdowns. Another week, Mike Evans might get 2 touchdowns. Rob Gronkowski comes back. He got 123 yards on 7 catches. It just shows they are such an explosive offense. And Leonard Fournette, it was quite funny, especially watching that last touchdown, because the smart play was probably to take a knee on the one and then just kick the field goal to win it. But you're not stopping Lenny trying to get his 4th touchdown of the day. They looked explosive. And especially up against the MVP candidate, Jonathan Taylor, who scored a touchdown of his own, but it's definitely outshone on the day by Leonard Fournette. It was a great match and a really high-scoring one and a great way to kick off the Week 12 as well.
Yeah, I mean, they can beat you in many ways. Like, God, one another name you didn't mention there. So many weapons, and that's why they can afford to miss top-end talent like Gronkowski, who missed almost a month after he got waxed by that defender from the Rams. And then, but I think what we saw on Monday morning, our time, the Sunday night slate, was that how important Gronkowski is to that team.
Yeah.
He's vital on third down. And even a couple of years removed from when we thought he was actually done. His last year at Pats, he was not this player he is now. He fought for vital first downs. When it looked like he was upright, ready to get popped, he'd stay physical and then continue to fight, which is who we saw. He's not the same guy who can score a 60-yard touchdown by bumping off the free safety after making a catch, but he's just as important to this team as he was to the Pats back then. Their losses came when he wasn't playing. You already touched on Leonard Fournette, finally looking like a first-round draft pick, which is what he was
5 years ago.
Exactly. He's still not the best lateral mover, Lenny, but once he gets going in one direction, like,
I reckon he's deceptively quick.
Yeah,
Deceptively quick.
And
he's powerful and strong, and he played receiver in college as well. So
none of those things are related to agility, though, Hugo, which is what I'm talking about. Not the best dancer, Lenny
The problem
Fournette.
is, until he puts the foot in the ground and makes that cut inside, he looks vulnerable.
But like he did not face one stacked box. Like it's like the teams are preparing for Jags Lenny Fournette. And it's like, no, you need to prepare for the Tampa Bay Lenny Fournette.
That's the thing, though, because if you stack the box against Tampa,
I get it.
Throw the ball.
I get
throw
it.
to Gronk. Yeah, throw to Evans. Throw to Godwin.
Next minute,
Brown's back.
Lenny Fournette has 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good call. Good call.
Yeah.
And you know, what we haven't mentioned is the real reason why the Bucs won this game. They didn't turn it over as much as the Colts. And Tom Brady, this is just another one of those games, the myriad that he wins that you'll never talk about again.
Yeah.
But he did everything perfectly in regards to what a competent quarterback can do, and that is score after every turnover, which is what they did. A field goal or a touchdown. Every time they stole the ball from the Colts, they converted.
Yeah, and I think, as we touched on, I think having Gronk, who is that safety blanket, as you said, he's not going to rumble down the field. He might not peel off these huge runs, but when you look down and your check down, after you've looked through your routes and your check down is Rob Gronkowski, and as you said, he is in a mood this year. He was fighting for those first downs. He looks like he's back to some of his best form, to that form we saw in the postseason last year, which is scary. It's the right time of the season for Tampa.
Just minus those long bombs down the middle, but yeah.
Yeah. The other side of that, which you touched on a little bit, was probably the difference in the game was Wentz isn't Tom Brady, which I'm sure we're all aware of, but he did look much improved. And without Jonathan Taylor having his best game, despite finishing with a touchdown, Wentz still controlled the game relatively well, and it was just those few turnovers which were ultimately the difference in a one-possession game.
Yeah. I mean, they'd been on a tear after a slow start. We've touched on it over the last month or so, the improvements that the Colts have shown, and Wentz was starting to look like that guy that was getting MVP chat in the 2017 season, I think it was.
17.
So, but even that version of Carson Wentz had an interception in him. He had a fumble in him. So you got to take the good with the bad. But over the last 5 or 6 weeks, the Colts have been getting more of the good from Carson Wentz than the bad. So, and given how average the AFC is, the Colts are still right in this.
Oh, the Colts are well in it. They'll make the playoffs. Yeah,
okay.
They'll make the playoffs.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm willing to stake on that. But Carson Wentz is that quarterback who you love to watch as long as you're not a Colts fan.
Yeah.
You don't know what you're going to get every time. He can throw for 4 touchdowns. He can fumble the ball. He can sprain both ankles. Anything can happen. So, this was you could just see why the Bucs are once again that Super Bowl favorite.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan Taylor, who has run ragged over everyone else, it just shows the Bucs can stop anyone.
Last note, that's what Arian said in the press conference. He's like, you can't run on us. There were a lot of big bodies there.
Yeah.
Tampa now looking very much like a Super Bowl contender. 2 other teams who will be hoping to push into that. Do you have something else, Hugo?
Just quickly,
you just want to put your hand up. What have you
I
got?
think we can't mention Bruce Arians without talking about Vita Vea. They're losing the tooth, and then Bruce saying, "Who cares? He's got 30 other teeth. Who cares?" One of the great quotes of the season.
Yeah, just chop it off.
Well, Tampa definitely are one of the Super Bowl contenders for this year. And 2 other teams who faced off, who have Super Bowl aspirations, even though they seem to be going in opposite directions, was the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field taking on the Los Angeles Rams. We have our Rams supporter back this week, so I think it's fair for Ted to open us up. What have you seen in the past few weeks? Where is it going wrong, or are you not worried just yet about the Rams?
I mean, I'm not worried about the Rams because you just have to make the playoffs, and they've still got a 2-game buffer on the rest of the wild card race in terms of who won't make it. So I think they'll get there. In terms of what's going on at the moment, I think it's never one thing when a team's form takes a dramatic turn like it did, because they were one of the hottest teams just over the first 5-6 weeks. Just that one loss to Arizona, who was undefeated. But Matt Stafford, he had surgery on his thumb in the offseason. The very first practice session for the Rams, no pads, just throwing the ball. He hits his hand on one of the offensive linemen, same thumb. Then versus the Detroit Lions in a follow-through of a throw, he hurt the same thumb. And then versus the Seahawks, he's got a sore thumb, and you can see it. He's thrown 3 pick sixes in 3. He's thrown a pick 6 in 3 consecutive games. He's struggling with touch. The balls he's most accurate on are the long balls, the ones he can still fire in, where he's not relying on his touch, because when he is, it is just getting sprayed. He's not the same thrower of the ball he was before that Detroit Lions game, which is early on in the season. So they've been plugging holes. The defense isn't what it was last year. That's not just because Staley. They also lost some defenders in the backfield. And the other one is Bobby Trees, Robert Woods. People are sleeping on how important he was to that offense, who he is as a person, how important his personality is to that locker room, and how much work he does off the ball. He's a great, we all know it, he's a great blocking wide receiver.
Yeah.
And most people don't care about that, but the Rams do, and it's shown in their results and their offensive output. And that he's not taking attention away from Cooper Cup as well, which is what he was doing. And Odell Beckham isn't a proper threat yet. I know he scored a nice touchdown, but he's going to have to do more than that if he's going to be what the Rams need in regards to them making the Super Bowl this year. But am I worried? They're going to make the playoffs, and as we've seen throughout this season, anything can happen. But in terms of this game, it just never got going for the Rams. I'm shocked that it finished like within one score because the Packers looked like a 14, 17 point better team all the way through. So it's actually a testament to the Rams that they kept it close, that it was only 3 points at halftime. But when Packers were up by 2 scores, I was like, that's it there. That's a true representation of this game because it was never really close.
With the aim of firing you up here, Ted, but yes, Stafford has a thumb injury. We don't hear the Packers complaining about Rodgers' injury as much, and they're just going from strength to strength. Well, it showed.
They won. That's how it worked.
But it showed from strength to strength. And unfortunately, the Packers, especially, they beat the Rams in the divisional round last year as well.
One thing, that's true in Green Bay.
But
I'm pretty sure a lot of teams lose in Green Bay. But one thing I will say is that I think Stafford's got a thumb injury. He's never said it. Yeah. Why do you think Rodgers has a toe injury? Because he told everyone. He had a press conference. He's like, my toe, turf toe. It's actually heaps worse than turf toe.
COVID toe.
Continue. What were you saying about your hero?
My hero Rodgers. Just distance myself from that. I did love Rodgers at one point, but anyway. What I want to say is, if you are going to be the wild card entry into the playoffs, you do have to win on the road.
We are not winning on the road. Yeah, for sure.
So, and there's no doubt that road will take you through Green Bay.
Unless someone else knocks them out first, which is what's going to happen, because we will not beat Green Bay in Green Bay, but hopefully...
Can we just talk about this NFC playoff picture for a sec?
Absolutely.
Who do you see, if you had to pick NFC Championship game right now, who's it going to be?
I mean, easy answers Arizona and Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
I stopped myself because I was going to say Arizona and Green Bay.
Yeah.
But now that I'm thinking out loud and in real time, I actually think it's going to be Green Bay Tampa. They're the smartest options.
I think Green Bay Tampa.
Why would we think Tom Brady isn't going to be in a conference championship? Yeah. Did I say this a couple of weeks ago? You just have to assume he's going to be there because he's always there.
I think we are destined for the inevitable. Aaron Rodgers' last game in Green Bay is knocked out of the NFC Championship fittingly.
Okay.
And I think the Niners are going to be the dark horse that comes through and will roll over the top of Green Bay. I think
Debo needs to be fit.
Great pick.
Yeah, which he will be in 2 weeks. So he'll be all right. But also at the time, we're about to get into this game, which is fantastic as well. I've created my own segue, which I love. But the 49ers are starting to get hot at the right time of the year. Is the only reason I bring this up. Kittle's back, looking good. Eli Mitchell is a certified stud, as it turned out. Random draft pick, thanks to the 49ers. And they're starting to get these wins together, which are important come back end of the season. To have beaten the Rams, and as we talked about, at that point, they have the wood over the Rams. They get to play the Rams once more as well. So, you can chalk that W up already.
Okay, that's how NFL works, for sure.
And I think there's more in this season yet. In the same way that after the first 4 weeks, if you had have tried to pick the NFC, you would have had 2 completely different teams then as well. Whereas now everyone's like, Green Bay's starting to roll.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just not sold on them yet. But
they're good. Green Bay's good.
Green Bay good.
Yeah, they're always good.
The most exciting part out of Green Bay for me is A.J. Dillon in the wake of Aaron Jones being a bit banged up and not getting the touches that he's used to. Quadzilla has come in, and boy, does he look good running over the top.
You're such an interesting cat. You've got the godfather of immunisation. You've got the boy child wonder coach, and you're like, no, the most interesting thing about Green Bay is they're backup running back. Backup running back.
I get what he's saying though. He's seriously impressed.
Hey mate, I like it. Do you know who his favourite NBA player is? Bobby Portis.
I am so glad that this has come up on the pod, and I don't have to edit that out.
Oh my god! But AJ Dillon, he's been very good. It was. I knew we were done when Adams was playing. Like, he was meant to be out this week, just to stay on the Rams. Sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good.
But yeah, in his absence, Dillon was pretty good as well. But
I will keep it with the Niners. Sorry.
Yeah,
Yeah, you went back.
Yeah,
Like I started talking about, I was like, why are we back on
I'm doing a terrible job of this.
It's like, why are we
week of
back
keeping us
on the
track.
Green Bay?
Let's talk about the Niners because that's a team that I can see making a deep run in the NFC. They're coming hot at the right time of the season. They've got the bye week at the right week as well. The Vikings, who are another good team, who were supposedly in the hunt and have had these close games, but they're still sort of fading at the back end of them. And for the Niners to be able to put it all together and come away with that W, it was yet another impressive victory, I thought.
I'll say keep it in your pants because if they won't win a game without Debo. Mark my words, they won't win a game without him. There's a reason why I was suggesting to Hugo off camera weeks ago that he should be in the chat for MVP because he is one of the most important players in regards to a team's outcomes. If he's not there, I do not like San Francisco.
He's been doing everything for them this year, receiving, rushing.
He's like one of the best running backs in the NFL. He's a wide receiver.
He's incredible. But rarely I agree with Ted, but I do agree with him here.
I did not know that he constantly disagrees with me. Continue.
I do not see the Niners. If they do make the playoffs, I don't see them getting past that wildcard weekend.
Okay.
But it's just they're just so up and down. I just can't get past the fact that 4 weeks ago they were so bad.
Bills lost to the Jags, brother.
No, I know, I'm not saying. I think the Bills are bad as well.
Yeah, they're all bad. Who's good? Well, Green Bay.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, but it was in terms of this NFC, we look at them. You think so the Rams have got that wildcard spot locked up. There's the Niners, there's the Vikings, there's the Eagles, there's Washington, who under Heineke don't look too bad.
He loves Heineke.
I love Heineke. I think it's incredible what they did yesterday without a kicker.
I know you do.
Boys, can we stay on topic for 15 seconds straight at one point? Can anyone tell me anything about the Vikings?
Yes.
That's what I want to know.
How did Kirk Cousins line up under the right guard?
Yeah.
What's he doing?
Yes.
That was an incredible
What's he doing?
moment.
But
They had to burn a timeout because Cousins couldn't line up.
So funny.
In the right
It's such
spot.
a crucial point too. You needed that touchdown to get, to get the 2 point to level it up.
Or the timeout. On the Vikings, I'll say this. It looks like Cook is injured. He's going to be out for a while. They've got a decent replacement.
Alexander Madison.
Thank you, Hugo, but he ain't Cook.
Yeah. It's a big loss.
Yeah, so it could be a blessing in disguise. The old sport adage, sometimes when you lose, you'll win. Because of this Cook injury, they might just start feeding Thielen and Justin Jefferson an insane amount, which would just be juicy as an NFL fan. But they'll be fighting for a playoff spot. This was a great matchup, San Francisco Vikings. It was a great game. And they're two teams that I'd be okay in the playoffs because, as Hugo said, they can beat anyone on their day. It's just that losing to anyone is also on the cards.
Also a possibility,
Yep. Yeah. The Eli Mitchell was the only other big name we didn't talk about. He had an incredible game, 27 touches, 133 yards on the ground and a touchdown. I think he also picked up a knock as well. So
some garbage time there, but
a little bit of garbage time. But
if I saw a tweet, if Trey Sermon had the season that Eli Mitchell was having this year, then everyone would be talking about him as a top 12 running back. The fact of the matter is Eli Mitchell is absolutely balling at the moment for the Niners, and the fact that Trey Sermon is not even getting a look in just shows how good he's going. So one to watch.
Another pivotal person in that win for the 49ers, 34-26, was obviously Mitchell Wishnowsky, which brings us perfectly into our Australian watch because Wishnowsky for the 49ers only had to punt 3 times. So effective was their offense that they only needed to punt it away that many times. And he had a 61-yard average on those 3 punts. Anytime a punter gets above 60 yards, I hope our listeners are starting to actually understand what these punt statistics mean every week. 60-yard average on 3 attempts is enormous.
45's par, right? 45 yards is about par?
45 to 48 is about par. Above 50 is good.
Birdie. 60's an eagle, brother.
Yes.
He's averaging eagles.
He's getting close to albatrosses, mate. That's how special it's looking. That was Wishnowsky. They obviously beat the Vikings. Mailata for the Eagles played every snap once again. The run game, despite losing 13-7 to a terrible Giants team, is still dominant. Mailata still mostly responsible as part of that line for 200-plus yards of running offense.
Yeah. They've changed their strategy, and Millardo's been a big part of that. Yeah, so it's been good to see.
And boys, do you know Jalen Hurts is the #1 fantasy player this year?
Yes,
It's insane, man. It's insane, and he's the reason why their rushing output is so good. And it's a little bit misleading. Some people may say it's very misleading, but it's a little misleading in that when the Eagles are down in the fourth quarter, which they inevitably are in most weeks, right? The safeties and the cornerbacks drop back to eliminate the deep ball, the quick strike. And because Hurts is an elite runner of the ball, he'll take those 10 yards, those 15 yards, those 20 yards, and he will stack fantasy points, but he does not get... Is he the future of Philadelphia? Is this shirt viable next year?
Yes, it's definitely viable next year because there's no quarterback to take otherwise. Yeah. And especially if they make the playoffs, which they can. We talked about it last week or the week before.
They won't, though. I'll say that. They won't.
Also, when's Jalen Hurts going to win the Aussie of the Week? Because we talk about him every Aussie of the Week.
We segue into Hurts for a minute.
Because their fates are related. Their fates are related.
We will keep it right. Let's keep it back to the Aussies, though. I do love you pointing that out. Sipos does also play for Philly, which is how we spend a lot of time talking about Philly every week. He had a pretty good game as well. He was more in that par average that we were talking about, only a 43-yard average.
Oh, you're calling that's a bogey. It's a bogey.
It's down to bogey, we reckon. 2 out of the 3 were inside 20, though. So I'm prepared to say it was a par of a day. Yeah. Adam Gotsis continues to see about a third of the snaps that he plays, both special teams and defence, which for Gotsis is not so bad.
Does he make a tackle?
He made 3 total tackles this weekend, Teddy. Two combined and 1 solo. So they did lose to the Falcons, but he does play for the Jets. So for the Jags.
The
Falcons suck.
Yeah.
I can see why you'd get mixed up between the
Jags and the Jets. Yeah. Cam Johnson, speaking of sucky teams, plays for the Texans, who again lost, incredibly, to the Jets. You were just trying to badmouth your own teammate. They actually got a dub this week.
That was actually, although Zach Wilson threw the worst interception of all time.
Yeah, I saw that.
Not a bad win.
It was a bad interception. It was so jetsy.
He shoveled it just so
into someone's back.
Into the running back who wasn't watching.
Ty Johnson didn't know what he was doing. He was like, are you running? Are you running? No. Oh, shit, what?
Oh, it hit me in the butt.
He would have been like, did the ball just hit me? Oh, my God, the ball just hit me in the back.
Yeah.
Turned around to see it sitting on the floor.
I can see where you're going with this, though, with the next player, who I'm guessing is Michael Dixon.
There you go.
Yep, 8 punts, 400 yards. Sorry, you were going to take a favour, but...
Hey, you read the stats, buddy. I'm keen for it.
He, as Ted has rightly pointed out in the past, the Seahawks do not go for it in 4th down. So if you're an Aussie fan, every time 4th down, get the popcorn out. Michael Dixon is either going to double punt it for 60 yards or he's going to punt it.
Oh, he's so out of touch, Pete Carroll. He's like, no, 4th down, you're meant to kick it.
You've been writing that for a long time, and the stat that I heard that I want to mention, which proves our boy Teddy right, was this game was the first time all season, there are only 2 teams, one of the teams, the first time all season that they went for a 2-point conversion all year, which typically, can depend a little bit on how the game is shaping up. Yeah. But you would presume at some point, much like a 4th down, a 2-point conversion is that similar sort of risk play that you go for.
Pete Carroll is literally a scared old man.
And I wonder if he still considered it.
Mate, someone
kick the field goal.
He was just getting yelled at. Yelled at by the special teams coach. We have to go.
Yeah, we literally have to this time.
Yeah.
The only other team out of curiosity is the Arizona Cardinals, which I'm not sure how much you can read into that, because I would have thought Kingsbury would have had a bit more oomph to him than Pete Carroll, but.
Well, they don't need to. They've got like the best 3rd down conversion rate, or thereabouts. Okay. Kyler Murray's tiny little legs get pumping. And a lot of they went the longest undefeated. They probably had every reason to just kick the ball to the other team in most games.
Yeah, that's all.
Good segue. Will Cliff Kingsbury be the Cardinals coach come in this season?
Yeah, I was wrong about that. I wanted to give him the flick.
No. In terms of he's been pursued by Oklahoma.
Apparently
they've offered him a huge deal.
Yeah,
so Oklahoma's coach got
Lincoln Riley's gone to USC.
Yeah, which has opened up a big can of worms. Notre Dame's coach, Notre Dame, got picked up, and he is heading to LSU. So there's movement around. I don't like when they start talking about an NFL coach coming back.
Feels like demotion, right?
Yeah, halfway through his contract as well. It just seems strange. When Arizona are rolling, is there some bigger thing to it? Is he an Oklahoma old boy? Or?
Of course, a Dolphins fan won't like that, considering Nick Saban did leave the Dolphins to go
He
to
didn't
Bama.
just leave the Dolphins. He told Tony Kornheimer during an interview. Tony Kornheimer asked him,
I'm not going to Bama.
Exactly. Told him straight. And
but it's just something we don't understand here. Just how big of an allure these college programs have. It's a cushy job. It's a lot of money. You often get great living conditions, and especially if you go to a team like Oklahoma, you are supported by the fact you are guaranteed 8 wins a year.
Yeah, but you got to go to like people's houses, sit in their lounge rooms.
Like that.
I'm pretty sure. Right, so you definitely do get paid more to be a head coach in the NFL than college.
Most
of the time, depending on which college and which NFL team. But typically, yes.
Saban earns a fair bit.
The thing which jumps out to me the most is I don't know anyone who's traveled around America who is trading Arizona for Oklahoma. You can't.
Everyone's. I think Arizona, in terms of people moving into the state, is right up there.
Yeah,
it's becoming one of the most populous states. It's hot all the time.
Yep, super hot.
Can I say I've been to the Cotton Bowl, Texas, Oklahoma, going for the Longhorns. So I do not like anyone who goes to the Sooners. So that's all I'm going to leave it as. But anyway,
I get that.
Kingsbury, good luck, whatever you do.
Yeah, I personally, while we're on it, can't see him leaving, especially if the Cards make a deep playoff run. That would be the strangest U-turn ever to go to a team which is now going to be rebuilding in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
Anyway, we can save that for the onside.
Do you ever rebuild at college?
Not now that you got the free agency portal as well, the transfer portal. You can just poach players.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Let's save that.
He ain't leaving.
For the onside kick college variant, which will surely come up next season as well.
Yeah, there's another pod.
We can move away. That concluded our Aussies a long time ago.
And Jalen Hurts.
And we can move now into the upcoming games for Week 13 because there are some, as usual, couple of great matchups, couple of stinky ones as well, which we can avoid. But first up on the block that we want to discuss, the Cincinnati Bengals at home to the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah. The Chargers, remember when it was like, is Justin Herbert going to be the best quarterback in the world by the end of the season? Well, no, he's not.
Nope.
He's very good at throwing the ball. He throws heaps of pretty balls, but Justin Herbert has had 2 wins since the 12th of October. You look at players like Tom Brady, who hasn't lost 3 games in a row since like 2003, 2004. It's not what the great quarterbacks do, and we were talking about him like he was a great quarterback. And, I think when I said pump the brakes, we were like, yeah, fair enough. And now he gets to go against his, direct counterpart. They're taken in the same draft. Joe Burrow taken first overall by the Cincinnati Bengals, obviously, but Justin Herbert getting Rookie of the Year last year. Would he have got it if Joe Burrow didn't get injured halfway through the season because his offensive line couldn't block anyone? It's like this is a matchup that hopefully we see at least once a year for the next 10 to 15 years, and ideally it'll be in a playoff situation because I can't wait until we see these guys go off in an AFC championship game, but we're nowhere near that right now, especially with this Chargers team, because it doesn't matter who the head coach is. It doesn't matter who the quarterback is. It doesn't matter what city they're playing in. The Chargers going to charge. They will fall over eventually, usually in the fourth quarter, usually in a game they're meant to win.
Like the Broncos.
Yeah.
Which just happened.
Yeah, you can't trust anyone in this NFL. But this week I am going to trust the Bengals just because the Bengals absolutely waxed the Steelers last week. The same Steelers team that the Chargers really struggled against 2 weeks ago. I know if you're going off a form guide, you're doing the NFL wrong this season. Like you just guess. But I just like what Cincy have got, and I don't like the Chargers in close, big games. I'm hoping they can prove me wrong. I really like Justin Herbert. I'm just pumping the brakes and put him in that top echelon just yet, and I think he's going to get another reality check by the Cincinnati Bengals.
Well done. That was pumping that up in terms of the two same draft, etc. Rookie of the Year last year, first overall pick last year. I just think this has got pretender v contender all written on it. Whoever wins is a contender. Whoever loses is a pretender.
I like that.
I think these two teams have been, I guess, the Chargers will touter the Bengals have been a massive surprise packet, but they're two teams who are building towards something great. And like you said, I hope we see them in more big games going forward after this one. But whoever wins this, making the playoffs, whoever loses will not.
I think for me, this one comes down to defense. Both teams offensively incredibly strong, lots of amazing skill players. Both teams defensively have struggled. I would say the Bengals probably slightly better on defense. So for that reason, and at home, I always love a home team in Cincinnati. Those Ohio fans will be fired up. I think big
home teams have got a losing record this year.
Do they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Away teams have won more. I will say this before moving on. The Chargers have had the most drops in the NFL, which doesn't help Herbert, but he is throwing them a little bit beyond, a little bit. He does spray him a little bit. It's just that he's has more than anyone the ability to throw a perfect-looking ball. It's like when he throws a zipper, it's wild.
Yeah.
But Austin Eckler, if you want to run him back, that's going to be good at fantasy, that's going to catch like eight passes and score a lot of points, here's your guy. If you want to run him back that can run, like get it off the quarterback and run up the middle, he ain't it. So I think they need some help on the ground if they're really going to give it a good shake, because Austin Eckler, he needs to be part of a Swiss Army knife instead of the whole machete.
Yep.
I don't agree with that, but they're not that kind of team. They're going to do
because it's not an option. It's not an option.
Just moving off that for a sec though, Joe Mixon, what a player!
Yeah, he can run up the middle.
Now I think Eckler. It's unfair. Like Eckler had that week last week. He had 4 touchdowns.
Yeah, most of them.
Receiving as well. I know, but that's the new role a running back does. You have to that check down option.
Yeah.
He's
rushed. It's just my preference. I just like my running backs to have the ability to run it. That's all.
Starting a team right now, who do you pick, Mixon or Eckler?
Mixon, 100%.
Eckler. Cool. Carry on.
Okay.
I think
it's like a no-brainer for me.
Despite the argument, I think that's an interesting point where we get to for this game. Most importantly, the fact that we have Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert, we have Eckler versus Mixon, we have Chase versus Keenan Allen. There are studs all across the offensive board. This can't be a bad game. It's going to be fun to watch no matter what.
Yeah. T. Higgins playing 1 or 2.
Exactly.
Yeah, big touchdown on the weekend.
Yeah.
And also, while we're talking about great touchdowns, if you haven't seen the throw that Herbert made to Jared Cook, who is everyone's favourite tight end 5 in fantasy, Jared Cook is a great last-minute pickup. Incredible catch. Let's move on to the next game, which is the game I am bringing to the table, gentlemen, which is, I typically like to do this because we always have the good matchups of teams that are probably in the playoff hunt, and I like to pick 2 teams that are right on the bubble, really clawing and scratching and doing all the dirty work just to get knocked out in the first week of the wild card. That's what I like, and that is the Las Vegas Raiders, and they're getting visited by the Washington football team. I like this game because, as I mentioned, one of these teams is probably going to make the playoffs. They're in that little clump. Washington, Hugo's second favourite team and Hugo's favourite quarterback, Taylor Heineke, they are starting to look good. I guess I get that it was the Seahawks, but they were at home and they put in enough of a pro performance to beat a formerly good Seahawks team who still have good skill players. They still had to shut those people down without Chase Young. And without Chase Young, their defence is still looking very strong. Yeah. Washington 5-6, Raiders 6-5. It's setting up nicely. One of these teams is now in the position to make a run towards that.
I always like a week where we chat about Taylor Heineke, and I think he's been, especially the last 4 weeks, since that Lambeau mishap where he took a knee on the 1 yard instead of rushing it in.
Yeah,
he's shown a lot, and
he didn't take a knee; he fell over.
I know. Yeah. You know what I mean. I'm just describing it, but he's one of those guys. We talk about Jalen Hurts has a future next year. Taylor Heineke has a future next year.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yeah. He's got a 15-year future as a backup.
He's deceptively old, by the way.
Yeah, he's 29.
29, yeah. But he'll be the Washington starter next year.
Okay. I see a career where he is the guy he replaced. He's going to end up Fitz. Just bumping around, just being like one of the best backup quarterbacks in the NFL, which is a good career.
And still gets
I'd take that.
Probably still start 5 or 6
Absolutely.
games a year.
Fitz started heaps. And a guy that you're okay to have around. But
Antonio Gibson looked good as well.
And
running the ball. I think we like different types of running backs.
Yeah. I like running backs.
Running backs. just quickly, Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, no, I'm just that reaction was just that he
111 yards on the ground, although 3.8 yards per carry.
That's what I'm talking about.
Not great. Receiving an extra 35 yards.
Yeah, no. Like Gibson's good. That reaction was just that I needed him to score a touchdown in fairness. He didn't, so
Yeah, fair enough.
sorry, mate.
And
But 3.8
looks like J.D. McKissick had a head knock late on, was stretch it off. Doubt he'll be available this week, so you might get more of the touchdown work, considering McKissick had 2 touchdowns. So
Yeah. And
great for Ted's fantasy team.
I think Scary Terry is
yeah.
probably the most underrated or underappreciated offensive talent in the NFL. Just about, he's always good. Doesn't matter who's throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
Little dude just makes impossible catches constantly, and he keeps Washington in any game that they're relevant in.
Washington.
Sorry, you go. Yeah.
Washington seem to be that team who can grind and will come away with a real gross victory, which come playoff time, and they were the team, as we talked about, who really challenged Tampa in that playoff run last time.
Yeah.
If Washington sneak in, I think they could jag at least a wild card win. The next game might get a little bit tougher.
They're out of it, right? What are they? How many games have they won?
They're 5-6, and they are well and truly in the hunt in the
in
NFC, mate. It is
Oh
a
my God,
dumpster
what
fire over in the NFC.
They've won 3 straight. Okay. That's the beauty of the NFL season. You need a month to turn around.
Let's talk a little bit about the Raiders as well, though, because there's been so much going on with them off-field. On-field, they keep jagging wins here and there. They just had this huge 36-33 Thanksgiving win over the Cowboys, which we must talk about. That's an impressive, big statement win.
Yeah, you never know who's going to get off the bus with this Raiders team, and you just give them a pass when, they don't get off the bus. Because sometimes they don't. They've just had so many things happen to them. Obviously, there isn't an NFL podcast. There isn't an NFL fan that doesn't know what's going on off the field with that team. But in terms of on the field, how bad is that Waller injury? That's what needs to be discussed, because if it's bad, I know he hasn't been as effective as he was last year or in the first week where they just kept on throwing him the ball. But he's still a threat. You still have to game plan for him. Yeah. If your other receivers are open, it's because he's getting doubled or tripled sometimes if he's had a big first half. If he's not there, the defensive planning for the opposition just becomes so much easier. You can focus on the very few offensive talented players that they have.
Left, yeah.
Exactly. So, like...
Ryan Edwards.
Mate, it doesn't... Deshaun...
Renfro.
Jackson. Yeah, third down and Renfro. He's good.
Yeah.
But, it's also...
No, I agree with you. It's not great.
Yeah. So,
but you've hit the nail on the head on what I was going to say. In the same way that Bruce Arians in 2012 got Coach of the Year when Chuck Pagano got cancer.
Yep.
Rich Bisaccia, if they make the playoffs, your coach gets sacked, your star wide receiver goes away. Rich Bisaccia could be Coach of the Year.
That's a great shout.
They haven't skipped a beat, really, and they beat the Cowboys. That's a massive win. Yes, the refs were probably on their side, but
that's all right.
Yeah, but
it was against the Cowboys.
Yeah. Unfortunately, though, I think that their dreams can get silenced by the Washington football team.
Yes.
But
yeah, final word, gents. Pick a winner for me. Who's grinding their way out of this somehow?
Washington.
Yeah.
I think the Raiders typically, after having such a big impressive win, they will lose a really scrappy shit game. So
Raiders will win.
Okay.
Not in any of the multiverses is this Washington team winning a month of football straight. They're not winning 4 in a row.
Can we get to the game of the week?
Yes.
Yeah.
Hugo, take me through it. Give me the segue. Give me it all.
Patriots v Bills. Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Best ad on ESPN, by the way.
Tuesday for us, obviously. We have got the Patriots, who are 2-4, and now top of the AFC East. We've got the Bills, who are not the Bills we saw last year, coming together, seeing who is going to take this division. We've got Mac Jones, this quarterback who looked terrible with his shirt off in the national championship game last year, up against Josh Allen, who's meant to be this quarterback with this incredible arm strength. This quarterback is meant to sweep everyone before them. We have got Bill Belichick against Sean McDermott. The old, probably the best coach of all time against this young ball of a coach who could be amazing. I'm so excited about this. I think this could be one of the games of the season. It'll definitely be a grind. Can the Bills finally get a win against a team who are challenging? Can the Patriots get that win that proves to everyone they are this team? Brady's gone. We've got Mac Jones and we don't care. Can they do it?
Well, massive ramifications. The winner of this might get the first round bye in the AFC playoffs,
Yeah.
which is huge. And you know Bill Belichick loses sleep just pining over that first round bye. He's been famous for it throughout his entire career with the Pats because it's such a cheat code. You're one win away from the AFC Championship game if you get that first week bye. It's unreal, and the winner of this might get it. For the Bills, though, the ramifications go even further. They had that really ugly win versus the Pats last year where Cam Newton dropped it. He fumbled it late in the fourth quarter to give the Bills a much better roster than the Pats, but they only just grinded out a win because they had a bit of that little brother, big brother syndrome going from years of domination of Tom Brady and the Pats over the Bills. It felt like that was a changing of the guard. You need to keep your foot on the throat of the Pats for the Bills. You can't let the big brother remember that he is your big brother, and that big brother's Bill Belichick. You don't want to get owned by him for the next 10 years. Mac Jones is a rookie. This team's flying. The Bills, they put their flag in the hill last year. Is it still their hill? Man, this is going to be a juicy game. And the reverberations go... They're already echoing into the future, dude. This is going to be massive.
Just a quick shout out to our colleague in the States, Colin Cowherder, we know watches this show, because we started this narrative that it could be a Patriots Bucks Super Bowl this year, and then he stole it for his show as well. But everything is leading up to that, and let's hope we get that, because wouldn't that be the best Super Bowl of all time?
You got to stop saying this, and I'm going to jump in. I do not want to see the Bucks versus the Patriots. I do not want to see any more Patriots Super Bowls. We've seen enough.
Yeah. Must be nice being a Jets fan too, where you can just hope other teams make the Super Bowl. It's like, no, I want the Rams in there, bro.
Jets 2032, baby. We'll get there. We'll get there.
I think this game, though, based on form, the Patriots should win handsomely based on how everything has led up to this game. But the fact that the Bills currently have a slight tiebreak advantage in the division, if the Bills lose this game, not only are they a game behind, they're starting to look closer to the Miami Dolphins than they are to the New England Patriots.
Relax. The Dolphins aren't catching the Bills this year, bro.
If the Dolphins win next week and the Bills lose, there's a game between them.
Yeah, okay. But the Dolphins won't catch the Bills.
Well, no, because they lost both matchups to the Bills, so they're definitely not going past.
Exactly.
But anyway, my point is, I think it looks like the Patriots are rolling. I think the Patriots win this game comfortably.
Yeah.
I think the Bills now have a chance after they've had a few games get away from them and a nice get back on track game last week. This is a huge test for them. And even in these division matchups, as we mentioned, you just think Bill's going to be ready and he's going to come in there. Bill's going to be ready for the Bills and he's going to come in there with a game plan from everything he's watched, his tape dog days. He's going to be ready. And I think
I'm going to be a real jerk and hold you to that quote. The Pats should get it done easy.
Yep. I'm gonna stand by that. I've come full circle on the Pats this year. Dwayne will be pumping his fist at home from all of the talking he's done in my ear. But the Patriots, I think, win this game handily.
Okay, I've got a feeling that you're perfectly wrong. But it's going to be the opposite. I've got Bills by 10 points or more.
Okay.
I'm seeing a bit of an ambush happening.
Pats in a close one. Final minute drive. Mac Jones shows us. Gets it done.
Hey, between us, one of us has to get it right, gents.
Right, yeah.
Perfect synopsis for us. That's the game of the week, though, for sure. Tune into that one. That's Monday Night Football, which is Tuesday morning our time. Gents, that's about all we have time for. Thank you for a bit erratic at times and a hectic podcast this week. We had a bit to get off our chest as things start to heat up in this run home to the playoffs. Ted Smith, absolute pleasure.
Thanks.
And Hugo, you as well.
Thanks, Chris. Good stuff.
Thanks a lot. Go the Miami Dolphins.
Go the Jets.
I hope so.